everyone, my name is Amantlan Salah and I'd like to officially welcome you to the Active and Human podcast. Join me as I take you through a journey of storytelling that recognizes the disruptive impact that the Gen Z have made in the various spaces that they have plunged into. These will be moments where we appreciate impact, influence, and hard work. So sit down and stay tuned.
Hi babes, how are you?
Hello my love, how are you doing? I'm so good and I'm so excited to be here.
Oh my god, we've planned this for such a long time, and to finally see it happening, and just from the fact that we've been talking about it and now we're just seeing it. You know, we've implemented the plan and we're just looking at the product of it all. I'm just so happy that you were like the first person that I got to interview. Like, thank you so much for the honor.
We have arrived and I'm so sure that you're gonna do great. I'm super proud of you for all the hard work and like bringing us here to serve the people.
Thank you so much. I mean, coming from the one and only, the digital, you know, everything, the one of one, button bang over Instagram. But let me not take that away from you. I'm going to give you time to introduce yourself, give them your perfect, you know what, intro, whatever. Here's your space, ma'am.
Girls, having a perfect intro. Hi guys, my name's Bridget Gothaang. I'm a content creator. You guys know me as Bree Baby. That's the name.
AKA my bro. But yeah.
You know, so I'm a content creator, an influencer, and a media personality. You guys are probably seeing me in your local streams and Instagram, of course, and TikTok here and there, guys. The challenging
all those trends. But you know what, I'm so glad that you're here. I'm so glad that we're doing this. But okay, so your topic is faith on the front line. But we're not going to get into it as much as I am so anxious to ask you so many questions. I spent the whole weekend literally looking for the perfect question. I was like, you know, this is the one time I have her on the spotlight. I'm going to know. Exactly. People want to know a lot about you. Like, who are you from the onset? But before we get into that, I have a few icebreaker questions. These are a surprise because I don't think the team doesn't even know that we had these questions. So it's nothing hectic. I mean, it's a gentle start of things, you know, just to make sure that we have a calm intro, because the reports are doing. I don't know if they're gonna be calm, you know, but yeah, let's get into it. So
I hope you guys are ready. Let's get it.
Let's get into it. So first question: have you ever disliked something then changed your mind?
Something like what?
I don't know, it can be anything. Like just where like you just start liking something, I don't know, and then that.
Oh yeah, nuts. I disliked nuts with every part of
nuts.
my being. First of all, they're so ugly. So I felt like
go on nuts?
Yeah.
Which ones?
Which nuts are they?
They're different shaped nuts.
Cashews, whatever.
Just all of them, you just don't like them now.
I disliked them. I was like, why am I eating these things that are so ugly? But now, guys, that's my daily snack, especially the Woolworth ones. They're my favorite.
You know, with me, it's not really that. With me, it's like bananas, but it's not like I started disliking them out of the blue.
Yeah, what happened?
When I was like young, my mom used to, you know how moms are, especially Bangwai kids, guys, please don't play with that tribe. But yeah, like they...
She's coming at me. She's coming at me.
Please, like, you know what? She used to plan my dad from like such a young age.
Yeah.
She was like, you know, you need to eat bananas, avocado. She had like this whole diet that you're going to eat this every single day. And bananas was just one of those things that I ate every day. And now if I smell or see a banana, it's like, it just turns me off right there and there.
No, I love bananas.
I think I've seen you eating one and I'm like, oh my God, let me cut her off. Because imagine if she actually comes to be eating a banana.
That's my daily snack, guys.
Please, because whoa. Okay, so the second question, this is a bit tricky because I spent some time like looking and I was like, what is my answer? But I'm super excited to hear yours. So it says, which is more important, beauty, power, or money? Beauty, power, or money? Which one is more important?
I think for me, I'll choose power because when you have power, you can access money.
Yeah.
Beauty is not that important, to be quite honest.
It's not. It's definitely not.
And beauty is what you make. it's what you make it. I can think I'm beautiful.
Yeah.
And you can think, yeah.
There's this quote, "Tate, beauty is in the eyes of the beholder." Yeah.
What do you think is more powerful though?
I think you're right with power. Like, you know, I feel like in this generation, especially in this modern day age, you need to strive to have power because power gives you access to so many things.
We are the people to squeeze people
Exactly, literally squeeze with the power, right?
Yeah.
You get me? Yeah, so
You get
you're
the
definitely
money,
right.
the
Yeah,
power.
yeah, definitely. Beauty, on the other hand, we shouldn't even rate it at this point.
No, not with money inside.
With
like,
money and power,
relax,
like, yeah,
relax.
it was just, I think it's just one of those things that they just made as
We'll go to
an
beauty
option.
pageants for all of that, guys.
Even in, funny thing is, even in beauty pageants, beauty isn't important.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's also not important because there's this thing of beauty with brains.
Beauty with
So it's like
brains.
your intelligence actually comes first before beauty. So please, if you're beautiful, I don't know, try to get more attributes to, you know, yeah, relax, just calm down. Don't come for us, guys. But anyway, the third question.
Sure.
How do you overcome personal setbacks? I think I actually want to know your answer because you possess so many titles. I mean, you are a digital creator, content, you are a social. The title, Honorable Bridget. Like, you just have so many titles. And obviously, having to enter so many spaces, you kind of find yourself having confidence issues, having to doubt yourself. So I just want to understand, girl. Tell me, how do you overcome personal setbacks?
Yo, that's a tough question. This is not even supposed to be an icebreaker.
Yeah.
Guys. Calm down. Like,
It's like the intro to even like the in-depth conversation. Yeah.
So when it comes to personal setbacks, I feel like there's always a lesson when it comes to everything.
Yeah.
So what I try and do and be like, you know what? This is here for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
What am I getting from it? So when, let's say, I am having, you know, there's this thing where you just always feel like I need to do more, right?
Yeah.
There's always a lesson behind it because you're going to learn what space to take for now. If you feel like, okay, now I'm a content creator, I want to get 50,000 followers, then
Yeah.
there's obviously something that you need to do more than what you're doing right now. Or let's say I'm sad today, I'm going to, what do I do when I'm sad, guys? I listen to music, and I consistently affirm myself that whatever it
Just
is,
speaking to yourself, creating positive
Yeah.
energy within yourself. Yeah.
and I'm a person who lives for today.
Yeah.
And there's this Bible verse that says, joy comes in the morning. So I always tell myself, if this is what I'm going through this night, tomorrow it's a better day.
Yeah.
And when it comes to
Like this too shall pass, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
when it comes to the day for tomorrow, I'll be like, okay, God, we're trying this again. Let's go. What happened yesterday is something that shouldn't hold me
It
back.
shouldn't derail you from doing something more important
Or
tomorrow.
doesn't
Yeah.
bounces back so quick, so guys.
Yeah.
It's a thing. How do you do it though?
I don't, you know what, actually creating this project, like at first I thought that, you know what, I'm one person who just doesn't care about, I don't even have personal setbacks. I think that was because I hadn't had anything challenging then. So I was like, you know what, I'm this person that, you know what, whatever it is that I face, I always know that I'm on top of the world, you know, until we started planning for this project and there were so many things that gave me a reason to give up. So I think, like you say, just affirming yourself and talking to yourself, creating that positive atmosphere within your mindset, that when something goes wrong, know that there's always another way, you know what I'm saying? If problem or trouble was able to create a certain path, then obviously there's another path that can be created to come up with the solution, right? And I was talking to my mom actually, I think last week, and something happened and she was so mad and she was like, oh my God, what's happening? You know, just she was like panicking and just going through this. And I had this conversation with her. I was like, you know what? I was watching a video on the internet and like, if you feel like whenever you go through something, the first thing you think about is negative, then you should just start manifesting, like meditating again. Like just sit down, listen to music.
Being grateful.
Exactly, like listen to your inner self. Your inner self is someone that's positive. Your inner self is who you want to
Someone
be.
who's dreaming and
Exactly,
ready to
exactly.
live
So I think,
Bridget says, I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Danko. I can't believe I say that. But yeah, I don't want to keep the icebreaker questions too long because we have a whole lot to unpack. So the last one.
About to get her in
Oh, this is actually weird. Which is creepier, which is creepier, walking up on someone unexpectedly behind or staring at them through binoculars? I think you need to have an answer to this one because you are the Bridget Gothaang. So I'm 100% sure that wherever space you enter, that people who are looking at you, wondering, you know. So which one do you think is creepier?
Someone walking or
It says that walking up on someone unexpectedly and then staring at them through binoculars. Which one is creepier?
Girl, it's the one where you're acting like a cop. What do you mean binoculars? I broke out.
Duh, like why
Paparazzi.
do I even know how to spell that? Why are you carrying that?
Dude, like,
Is that even then, Botswana? Why are you doing that? Yeah.
It's me. You see me. You feel me. Relax.
Don't worry.
Imagine guys, and then I see someone.
Real though. Real though. That was talk. Yeah, it's giving danger vibes. So yeah, those were the icebreaker questions. So now we're getting into your topic, faith on the front line. And I think this is the best topic for you because you're someone who's just so open about talking about your journey with God, your journey in church. Just, it's Christianity or just your religion is your identity. So obviously I think this was the perfect, conversation.
Yeah, I was so happy when you gave me the thing. I was like, God, do you see a being?
This is me, yeah.
I was so happy that
Yeah.
people do see the impact that I'm creating and depopulating the kingdom and populating the kingdom of God.
So obviously because I have access to you like that, I view your statuses. There was this one time when you were talking about your journey with God and you're like, I don't know if it was on your Instagram, but you were just talking about how you just didn't start as a full-blown Christian now. There were moments where you used to go to church and you just didn't understand what's going on here. And it was just not the space you'd want to be in, you know. And I think your family is one family that is centered around God and just are just huge believers and ambassadors also. So I want you to take us back to your childhood. How was it like? How was it? Like, just explain to us the experience of just growing up in a Christian family when you don't even feel the religion like that.
So, I don't know if people do know this, but like, I'm the only child.
Yeah.
So growing up, I didn't really grow up with my parents. I grew up with my grandma, my grandparents, from, I think, standard 4 to standard 7. Standard 4, standard 1 to standard 7. But my grandparents are not that spiritual.
Yeah.
The people who are spiritual is my mom. My mom is the spiritual parent here, the one who's gonna drag me to church and the one who wants me to be at church.
Yeah.
So when I so every time, so when I grew up, I knew that there is God.
Yeah.
Because I grew up in a Christian family. But not growing up, I haven't seen them going to church. I'm sorry, guys, I love you.
She's exposing, she's giving us the tea we need, battle. Yeah.
So we grew up knowing, I grew up knowing that there's God, and I grew up knowing there's church. But I never had that personal relationship with God. Because one thing about Christianity, it's about intimacy and having a relationship with God.
Yeah.
So it's one thing to be a church goer and it's one thing to be a Christian. Because Christianity is a lifestyle. And for you to be part of this
Man, preach, sister. I'm 100% sure that but about Jesus Nation are just like we're being represented. Yeah.
So to be part of this lifestyle, you need to know who you're with. You need to be in a relationship with your God. So from standard 1, when I got to Gibbs, I was staying in Kanye. So when I got to Gibbs, my mom would take me to church. Now, Sunday school leader, guys, the Sunday schools that I went to, we were given food. And that point, I'm like, I am leaving my house. I'm going to church to go and eat. Yeah. And I get a third. So it's like double everything. And I'm like, thank you, Jesus.
It's a win-win situation. I grace them with my presence and I get food.
So I was an active Sunday school student. I even graduated my Sunday school. And then there's this one time, because now I felt like, but it's because I didn't know what was happening.
Yeah.
I was just going to a place and people started crying. And that was one traumatic thing. I was like, you know. So I didn't really understand a lot of things which I had been. So I was like, you know what, girl, this week leave me behind. And it got to a point where I was like, no,
just making excuses to make sure you're not at that particular space. Yeah.
So it just got to a point where my mom even had to just, some weekends she just leaves me. And apparently this is something that's popular when you get to a certain age, children drop out from church. So it got to a point where I knew that there's God, and every time I'd have moments with God, like I'll find myself bathing and I'm singing gospel, and there's this sudden change in the atmosphere, and I'll be like, in a way, I don't understand what's happening, you know what I'm talking about. And the moment I saw God work in my life, and that was around 2018, that's the time, 2019 actually, that's the time I started taking my spiritual journey serious, because now I was smart enough to know that this is what's happening, and this is who God is, and I want to take a greater step than what I'm doing right now. If it means me going to church every day and learning, because I can't have a relationship if I don't, like right now, even if you meet a boy, the first thing that you do is have a talking stage. So the first thing that you need to have with God is get to know him, get to know who he is, and if it's going to church, go read your Bible, do all of that. So yeah, that's my journey in a nutshell.
You know what, you mentioned something that's so important, and we were talking about how there was this moment where you just stopped going to church because you just didn't understand that, okay, but what exactly is going on? Like, what are these people feeling? And I feel like that's a moment that I can greatly resonate to. But one thing that people don't really like talking about is how necessary that moment is, where you decide to step back and just understand yourself. Okay, I'm a Christian, and I want to be a Christian not because of my family, but because I have a relationship with God, and because He's done this and this and this and this and this and this.
It's one of the most important things in life. And the crazy thing about when it comes to families is they won't really understand what you're saying.
Exactly, yeah. Exactly.
At that time, I want to be with God for myself and learn what God has for me. Because thank you for the upbringing. I totally appreciate that, for giving me this God-free atmosphere. You know, so I'm really rooting for those souls that never really had that Christian family. Because one thing that my dad normally tells me is like, imagine right now if you're not born into Gothaang, do you think you'd be knowing God? So that's a crazy thing about it. I'm like, I think I'll still be knowing God because I discovered God for myself.
That's amazing.
Because I knew God through what He has done in my life. So if someone tells me, how do you know there's God? I'll tell you, boy, son, I know that there's God. Because God has done this for me.
And those are like multiple questions that are always popping up for Christians. How do you know that there's God? How do you know that? Always so many. Do you believe this and this? What proof do you have? You seen an angel? You know. And I think at the end of the day, it comes to faith. You look at your life journey and just like there's certain things. Like I look at also this project, and I just look at the fact that there's certain things that seemed impossible, but we're able to just make way and just realize whatever vision we had. And there's obviously a spiritual being that was able to enforce that. And what's the answer? It's God. Like there's certain things that you just cannot explain, you know. But let's just talk about.
And God always shocks you. Like one thing about God is He will shock you.
Yeah, He definitely will.
You're like, oh, is that a God? He's real.
One thing that just popped to my mindset when we were just talking is there's this thing of, oh, I'm not a Christian, but I'm a good person. You know, there's certain people that like to portray that image that, okay, even though I don't worship God, I don't pray a lot, I'm a good person. And even if there is a God, that's enough to get me to heaven. So I need to understand your perspective on that. Like, what do you think? Do you think that's true? Like, even if you're a good person, you know, you treat people, you don't lie. Yeah.
But you don't believe there's a heaven, so where are you going?
Why are you going? Why are you going?
Why are you saying you're going? Like,
I totally understand you.
Good person, but like, what do you mean? Because that one part I don't understand. It's like, you know, guys, what?
How do you go to a place you don't believe exists?
If you are saying I don't believe in God, you mean you don't believe in heaven.
Yeah.
It's like saying, because for you to go to heaven, you need to be born again, and you need to be living life for Christ. Because when he comes here, he's coming for his souls.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Until all of his souls are gathered, he won't come. So if you're saying I'm a good person, that's great. Like, good, congrats. But turn to God now, because you want to go to heaven.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you won't go to heaven. Because when I come, how can I heaven?
You don't believe it exists, so you can't plan to go
Who
to
are
a
you
place.
going to in heaven?
Exactly,
Who are you
yeah.
going to in heaven?
No, I totally get you.
So now I don't believe in that. It's like how some people say they celebrate Christmas, but they don't believe there's Jesus. So
What are you celebrating?
How celebrate the Christmas?
Yeah, that's a very important question. Yeah, no, I get you. Okay, so let's just talk about, I'm so interested in your journey of discovering that, okay, there's God, and I believe that there's God. So I also had like a similar journey where my family isn't really, say, orchestrated, like to say, oh, well, we'll wake up at 3 a.m. we'll pray. They don't go to church every single day, but we do have conversations that are centered around acknowledging that there's a spiritual power. You know, we live by it, we read Bibles, you know, but I'm seeing you moving from a position where you are going to church just, you know, for a moment of benefit, you know, and moving into a stage where you're like, okay, I acknowledge that there's a spiritual power. So I want to understand the pressures you faced. You know, you're moving from a situation where you see people are always praying, they're always singing, and you definitely feel a certain pressure. You feel like you're not a good enough Christian, or you feel like you're not doing the right thing as other people are doing. So I want you to take me through that journey where you're like, okay, you know what? Whatever Christian journey that I want to go through, I want to do it at my pace. You know, I just want you to explain that for me.
So funny enough, I haven't really got to a point where I felt like this next person is gonna put pressure on me. Because one thing that I know is God created me, and my race is my own race.
Yeah.
This is why it said they finished a good race. They have fought a good fight. Not we fought.
Yeah.
You get me? So what I am going through is not what you're going to go through. As much as I can pour into your cup, as much as I can be there for you as the body of Christ, you cannot tell me that the fact that this person can pray 5 hours and I'm praying 2 hours, it makes me less of a Christian. People confuse those things. It's not about you praying louder. It's about you having the God. So as long as I have God in me, that's good. And I have to improve as an individual to have more of God.
Yeah.
So every time it's like the thing I can say is I put the pressure to myself. Who was I before I met God, and who am I now? Because once you meet God, you need to change.
Definitely.
Once you meet God, God is going to change you. It says come as you are, but then He is gonna change you to be who you are supposed to be, who He created you to be. So it's a thing of the pressure that I face. It's a thing of okay, so now you're moving to this person, from this person to that person. But I never really had wild phases like that. I wasn't a wild kid like that. So it wasn't easy for me, but I managed to get away from a lot of things that are of the world. The only pressure that you can possibly get as a Christian, and most Christians do get, is the pressure from the world and the pressure to be better than who you are. Because you know that, man, this is not what I'm supposed to be doing, so I need to do better. If, because sometimes there's this thing, I'm like, hey, child of a man, you can't, you need to let go of a lot of things to be who Christ wants you to be.
Yeah.
And once you let go, it's an easy thing, and you just keep on going through with everything with the help of the Holy Spirit. So every kind of pressure, everything that you go through, you have backing when it comes to God. That's one thing I'm going to tell you guys. You can never go wrong with God. You can never be alone with God. You got backing. This one song that I like, every time, I forgot to mention, every time I go through stuff, I'm like, damn, I got backing.
Yeah.
Like, I got backing.
That reassurance, yeah.
It's like thing of, and God like, yeah.
I got
let's
you.
Go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Okay, so you mentioned something about, I don't know if you talked about like moving to this person. I remember this one time, I had like a mini Q&A on my WhatsApp status, and actually the question was relationship deal breakers, right? And so many people highlighted the conversation of religion, right? And they're like, you know what, I can't be with someone who doesn't realize that Christianity or God is real, you know. And I just wanted to know, I understand in the relationship aspect, because this is someone that you're going to spend your whole life with. This is someone that you are going to settle down with. But let's talk about friendships. You know, you're meeting someone who identifies as an atheist, or you're meeting someone who says, you know what, no, I believe in Allah, I'm a Muslim, or you meet someone who just doesn't even know what they believe in. So I just want to understand, in terms of gaining friends, do you put limits or boundaries to say, you know what, I'm only going to befriend people that are in my religion, or you're just welcome to, you know, bringing in as many people as you can, as long as they are good to you?
One thing that I would say boldly is the best thing I did for myself was to try and keep more godly friends around me. Because when you have godly friends, your work is easier. It's like when you enter into a business, you can't enter into a truck business and then you friend people who buy aeroplanes.
Exactly.
Who's going to squeeze you in? You know what I'm saying? If you get into a truck business and you get truck contacts, right? They're going to, when you have a truck, they're gonna be able to help you quickly. It's okay to have those friends, but then you need to have a community.
Prioritize people that align with your religion as well.
It's so important. You know, one thing that I had to go through was I actually had to remove myself. Like, I was like, I love these people, but are they good for what I want? Are they good for my journey? I don't want to be part of these people, because what these people are doing is not what I would like to do. So it got to a point, that's one of the things that really affected me as an individual. I was like, I got to a phase of going down. Like, I was so sad. I'd be like, okay, Shapo, these people are going out. Sometimes they wouldn't invite me, because sometimes I would tell them, don't invite me out, you know. And sometimes it would be so weird, like how I got treated by people around me because of how I decided to take my Christianity seriously. Because, you know, sometimes, guys, my dear friends, I'm so sorry, I love you guys, but that thing annoys me with every fiber of my being. Like, I be chilling with them, let's say we're chilling here, and they want to go do something that isn't more, like, let me say Christian-like, if that's a proper, for lack of a better word. They'd be like, "Wena sal." Let's go buy drinks. Wena sal. Guys, what do you mean? It's like so weird. It's like the treatment that you get from people when you're trying to be a better person for yourself. So I was like, you know what, let me do it for myself.
You kind of receive a certain level of classification because you choose to live your life a certain way.
Or when we go out to a party, we're now battling. I'm like, guys, this is a party. I'm here to dance. What are you here to do? So it was that thing also that got to me. And the only way I was like, you know what, I have.
It's like people think that just because you see yourself as a Christian,
I cannot live.
Exactly. It's like they think that, I think that's the biggest misconception about religion, actually. People think that once you classify as a Christian, it means that, oh, you can't drink, you can't have fun. But all it really, I think, really calls out for is for you to be true to God and have faith in Him, and to actually have a relationship where you can just run to Him as soon as something happens, you know. But I think it's really crazy because people are so quick, and I've heard so many situations where maybe you talk about how, you know what, I've just started creating, because there was also a time in my life where I just started, because I wasn't really big on Christianity as well, and I think with me it came from the fact that my family wasn't always going to church, but they did talk about it, but it wasn't enough to, you know, just give me this awakening that, you know what, Amante, you need to really create a proper relationship with God. And I remember there was some time, I think it was in Form 2, and I just had this moment where I was like, I think, you know, Christianity or just religion or having a relationship with God is so astonishing, because it's like you hear a calling sort of that, you know what, you are needed to create a relationship with God. I feel like it's not even a situation where something happens. It's like a feeling when you feel like, okay, I'm waking. It's time for you to just start focusing on this. And I remember I was a very outspoken person then, and I would sit down with my friends and we had this conversation. I'd be like, you know what, guys, I really think I should go to church. I think I should do this. And there was a time where I was going to church consistently. I was always praying. And every morning at school, I'd actually start a conversation about God. And it came to a point where people are like, you know, I started getting that feeling, wait, people don't exactly. People think I'm boring because I acknowledge God more. You know, I just felt sort of like misplaced because my surrounding wasn't acknowledging what I started acknowledging. And because at church I was taught that, okay, you need to spread the message. You need to make sure that you let people know that there's God. There's this, and I was just so eager to do that with my classmates, and to just receive that rejection where people are like, yeah.
Jokingly reject you for what you are trying to do. But one thing that I always say is like, you know what? Christ gave me life, and I'm going to live. I'm going to go out. I'm going to go live and be happy. And if you're not going to serve me the way I want to be served, you cannot sit at my table.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
It's one thing to have many people, but they don't add value in your life. So when it comes to relationships, I am so picky, and this is me. I am so picky because I've heard my share of ungodly friends, and ungodly friends, they don't know how to love.
Yeah.
And when it comes to godly friends, as much as we are not perfect, we do make an effort. And it's always best to see how, if someone isn't doing great, they're able to come to you. And when it comes to ungodly friends,
yeah.
You get me? So it's really one thing. And then when it comes to relationships, where it's romantic relationships, I will never date a boy that is not a Christian. I will never. That thing will bring.
Yeah, I hope about
There's this one time some guy on Instagram, he sent me a text like, come
on now.
I'm like, relax guys, but I will never get involved in an unequally yoked relationship. This one I'm sorry, and this one God knows. My man must know God, because I cannot be going somewhere where
definitely.
that thing almost here.
And I think, you know what, the thing is, religion is a way of life,
It's
right?
personal.
So
It's
yeah,
like everything, how I talk, how I breathe.
exactly. It's just exactly. So it's like, if you meet someone who isn't fond of the religion that you are in, it's like you're just with a foreign person every single day, and you can't. Plus, also, I think it's very important to connect on a spiritual level with your significant other. And so, if you're having a problem, or maybe, and I think, you know what, Christianity has a lot of spiritual, like where you just need to see things from a spiritual way of things. So like, you probably have a dream, and in certain aspects you'd be like, okay, was it God showing me this, you know? But if you're with someone who is not living
I'm going to church. When I'm not, you know what I'm saying? So that's just
it's the same people like when I'm like, they'll feel as if that's the biggest insult.
You know what I'm saying? So now I was like, I will never date a guy that does not go. No God.
No, it's totally understandable. Ma, you are a digital creator. Wait, a content creator, and you've recently just started getting into these spaces where there are politics. Well, there's just a lot going on. We can't even keep up. No, like literally. Podcasting. But I just want us to talk about you being a Christian, obviously, because you have access to so many spaces, you find people who have different beliefs. And I think if maybe you haven't experienced several of those situations, you've at least experienced a situation where you meet people that sort of like are in an industry, and they're kind of like trying to shape you into this person that is far-fetched from your Christian personality. if you get what I'm saying. Like where you probably, let's say maybe you're getting into the beauty industry and you meet these people that, okay, if you want to be recognized as a social media influencer, reduce the amount of Bible verses that you post, you know, or people that kind of like say that, okay, for you to be successful, or kind of like feel like you being much of a Christian on the internet is something that will not define your career.
I would rather lose the followers than lose my Christ. You know, there's one thing that happened. Like, you know how I'm a speaker as well. So this one time I was speaking and it was about purpose, right? And I mentioned God. And apparently some people mentioned how I speak about God a lot because those people don't believe in God, that exists, I think. So it was a thing of like, now I'm speaking about what works for me. You know what I'm saying? And what I feel like it can, I was bringing life to those souls. So if I'm going to say, guys, for you to know where you're going, move with God. It's what works for me. It's what worked for me. So every time someone tells me, don't do this, I'd be like, hey, do you know who I serve? You know what I'm talking about? Because I serve a God that breaks protocol for me. So you cannot tell me I'm going to lose followers because of there are many souls that need to be fetched. So I don't compromise. If I want to share, you'd rather read me. This is one time people on my status, some girl was like, yo, you share a lot of Bible verses. I'd be like, girl, there's a mute button. Do that. There's a soul that needs what I share because there are many souls that tell me, hey, Bridget, this is how I'm and you think, imagine if I don't share one verse, but someone needs it. If I get darling, how could you mute me? How could you unfollow me? If you don't like my aesthetic, it's not your genre. You know what I'm talking about? It's move to something else. Follow what you like.
I totally get you.
Social media, you have to get into things that you like. If you can't follow me if you don't like God. You know what I'm talking about? So, and I'm not going to force. I never. One thing about me, and that's why I'm able to relate with everyone, because that's what I'm taught as a Christian. To love and accept everyone. So I accept everyone, and I don't force my religion. I just do what I do and do what you do. Maybe one day you will get to see who God is.
You know what, you've just touched two, I honestly hope I don't forget this, but I know when you're still speaking, there were just two questions that popped in my head, and I hope that I don't forget them. First of all, it's the whole concept of social media, and I think this is something that many people our age struggle with. People think that you'd get into social media and there's a certain route that you have to follow. For you to be recognized as a content creator, you need to do this and do this. And they forget that for you to actually be recognized, you need to show your authentic self. And that's something that's so lacking. Like, people will get on social media, they will put a picture of this and they haven't even been to the place, or they're not even at the place.
Yeah, there's a TikTok I saw, and I was like, this is cute. And I put on my status. Now my friend's like, girl, go and Pinterest. You're gonna find it. I was like, oh girl, damn. This is what's happening. There's so much pressure. We use ourselves to please the crowd. But when it comes to being relevant in every space, you need to be yourself. Because that's one thing I actually forgot to mention it. When I was in primary, I wasn't much of a social being like this, because I was so focused on fitting in, and I was a village girl coming to the city. So I was so focused on fitting in and not being myself. And to a point where I was like, no way. When I got to high school, I was like, let me be who I am. Let me live life like how I want to be. That's how I moved. Because high school is the place where I got the confidence to even get to social media. That's why people told me, Bridget, you're really good at this, so go for it. So every time I go back to the day I decided that I'm going to be bold about my movement, and whatever you do, remember, it's for yourself. Because if you fall, if I fall, you're not gonna be there for me. You're not gonna save me from whatever that I'm going through. So you need to be able to, if I fail when I'm doing this, if you fail when you're doing this podcast, God forbid, if you go and you're doing this podcast, I'm not gonna be there, but you're gonna fail knowing that I did something for my dream and not for Bridget's dream. Imagine if I wanted to be a YouTuber and you wanted to be a podcaster, and then you go to YouTube because
just because
what's
exactly
going to push you, you know?
And I think the more people hide that real authentic, like a real authentic self, we're like going away from the concept of relatability. Like I know I'm not even an Instagram person like that, but like the few times when I get on your stories and I see probably your vacations at Gothaang, your home village, and it's like Instagram people don't like putting that, but like I'm able to relate to that because I know I have like a home village and I know I want to go there and I know I want to see my grandparents and all of that. So I think your audience is really attracted by the fact that you show what's really going on in your life. I can't always be looking at an Instagram baddie who's always at Ayoba this because I probably can't afford that. But I see you there getting pomegranates or whatever fruits you're getting at Gothaang. I'm like, okay, this is something that can happen. This is life. So I think authenticity kind of like pushes the concept of relatability as well.
Every time as a creator, it's really nice, guys, but sometimes you ask yourself, it's like any other job. You ask, am I doing something right? Am I doing this right? Am I doing that right? So one thing that you need to know is you have to have creative control. And I look up to, when it comes to social media, like 2 ladies in Botswana that I look up to. They're so real. Gothaang and Marang Selulane. They are so real. Maram will show you when she leaves her house in the morning, when she goes to pick Nani at school, and it makes you relate to her easily.
Yeah, and she just takes you through this real journey,
But as an influencer, I want people to learn, I want people to grow, and I want to inspire people. So if I put up just this fancy life, I don't push up when I go to the village.
People need to see their challenges so that they can get strength to like overcome them. Yeah, I totally get you. So yeah, we've spoken a lot, but I really want to talk about something that's a bit, hectic. Obviously, as you grow up, you kind of like get access to more conversations, either about politics, activism, and it's like sometimes as a Christian, right? You will meet other Christians that say, okay, you know what? We do not believe that there are people that can identify as gay or there are people that can, do this. So it's like there's like pressure from the Christian community that as a Christian you must believe in this and this and this and this. But being in the modern age where you meet different people that can classify as gays or lesbians, but they say, I do believe in God. How do you find balance in such? Like, how do you say, okay, I hear you guys are saying that men cannot get married to each other, but I have friends who are like this. Like, how do you just maneuver, like, how do you just create a balanced mindset in that situation?
One thing about my friends, one thing I tell them, and one thing they should know, you are not called to be of the world. Even if trends come, modern age, old age, you are not of the world. So you need to know that. You really need to understand that as much as I am doing this is not right. Are you a drunkard? Are you a drug addict? Are you a liar? Are you a gay individual? It is not right. You need to come to terms with your true self. Because it's even there in the Bible that there are thorns in an individual. But those thorns need to be removed. All these men that you see, even the greatest man that I love, Paul, he wasn't the apostle that you knew before. So when you come to God ready to let go. Come as you are and let him work. Because the whole thing about Christianity, it says he dies for your sins, for you to be set free. When it comes to Christianity, it's liberation, it's deliverance from oppression. So if things of the world are drinking, smoking, homosexuality, when you find God, He's going to help you, right? I've heard conversations with my friends. I've heard conversations with with people who are like that, and I truly enjoy it because those people, they are so full of love, and that's one thing that Christ is all about.
Yeah.
Be full of love, and once you accept Christ, He's going to transform. That's one thing for sure. I've seen many people. There's this one girl that told me, she's like, Bridget, then I was once bisexual, and I was like, girl, you better be kidding me right now. And she's like, yeah, I actually am. And I've seen many testimonies of people telling me, you know, Bridget, this is what I went through, and this is what happened. I've worked with individuals who were deep into that, into homosexuality, and I've worked with them, like not really work, but like I've worked with them from where they're from to a better individual. I've seen it happen, and I believe it can happen. And every time I tell someone, I'm like, you know what, one thing about Christianity is don't go around being proud of the things that are wrong. Being a Christian is one thing, but I cannot go around going like I'm a liar.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm going to work on it. If I have pride as an individual, let me work on it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's the whole thing about everything. Acceptance, loving. Because I cannot save a soul with hate. I cannot save a soul
Yeah.
when you're like this.
So I can't be around you. Yeah.
Jesus even said with the Jews.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? So it's all about the souls. If you are a Christian and you cannot sit with someone who's not right, fix yourself. Fix yourself. You need God. They don't need God. You need God. You need the outer play.
You know what, I think this conversation was definitely important, especially because I think it allowed people to relate to your journey of becoming who you want to become, whatever religion that you want to follow. I think everyone can relate to this in the sense that I think as young people, we do go through those moments where we're like, okay, I've been raised in a family that follows such and such a path. And it's not only just about religion, it's about everything else. There's certain families where you just see people doing things a certain way, and you just need to get in a position where you're like, but I need to do this for myself. So I think it was very important to have this discussion and to also give people a chance to see you in a different limelight. And I think social media can really allow space for misunderstandings or misconceptions. So conversations like this are very important so that people get an in-depth moment where they realize that, oh, this is how I've been perceiving this person to be, but this is exactly. So thank you so much for joining us today. It was a long conversation and I learned so much from you. And now I finally get it. Like, this is the thing. We talk a lot, you see. No, honestly, we talk a lot. And I'm always like, okay, she's smart. But, you know, it doesn't awaken me like that. Like, oh, this is the type of person that I deal with. But today, I must give it to her. I must give it to you that when these people write you all these messages that, oh my God, you inspire me. No, you're well deserving of it, I must say.
So has it been my...
No, I've been rating you, but I'm just saying that I feel like I didn't give you the proper acknowledgement that you really deserved. But yeah, hats off to you, man. Thank you so much for joining us today.
I had such a good time, and I really hope that you guys at home enjoyed and something changed in you, you know. It's all about being a better individual.
Thank you.